Welcome, everybody. This is Roger Moon to RM Show at VOA Africa. What a pleasure to have all of you listen to us tonight from Voice of America. We're going to have a great show, and I want to thank all those friends who are listening to us in Accra and in Tema, those who continue to write us on social media. I want to thank you so much because I read your messages all the time and how you enjoy the great music, how you enjoy all the segment that we play for you guys on this show every Wednesday and every Friday. And thank you so much also for suggesting our little talk subject and debate and things like that. Thank you so much. Today we'll have a great show because one thing that we do here at Voice of America, we do have interns who comes and help us work and do some stuff with us. You will get to hear two of my interns who have done amazing work for us these past 6 months or so they will also be watching themselves tonight, see how they did and how we interact with them. But we'll be listening to our music and of course our segment of the week. It's also great to hear it and the subject of the week as well. So anyway, I want to thank you so much. Get ready, let's take off with this great music and we get back to follow with our program. Great song, Fast Car, and for those who know and love music, Fast Car is a popular song originally performed by Tracy Chapman. It was released at, in the lead single for a self-titled debut album. That was back in 1988. What a great song. I love that song. This song was written by Tracy Chapman herself and became one of her most successful and well-known songs. What an amazing song. And, the song just got so many prizes. Fast Car tells the story for those who follow music of a young woman seeking to escape her life of poverty and limited opportunities, right? The song's lyric depict her dreams of a better life and her desire to find a fast car to drive away and start a new life. It touches some of the themes like people like to talk about, themes of hope, determination, and the challenges faced by working class individual. What an amazing song. And I want to thank my friend Kwame who's listening to us in Accra tonight, who also loved this song. And he wrote to me, he said, Roger, I want to listen. That song is the first song, and that's the song we play for you. Kwame, if you listen to us tonight, this song gained widespread acclaim for its lyrics and Chapman's soulful vocals. And you can tell now that some people are remaking that song, replaying that song because it was just an amazing song. What's going on with Nikki Strong is the news tonight with our colleague Nikki Strong. Nikki Strong is right now.
So what's going on with Nikki Strong? Beyonce and SZA were the biggest winners at Sunday's BET Awards. Both won 3 honors, including tying for Album of the Year. This year's event also celebrated 50 years of hip-hop, with Busta Rhymes receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award. Ariana Grande celebrated her 30th birthday by posting a picture of herself as a little girl dressed as Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. The picture is a nod to her upcoming role in the movie Wicked, which is a spin-off of The Wizard of Oz. In the film, Grande plays the Good Witch Glinda. Ed Sheeran became his own opening act at his recent mathematics tour stop in Maryland, covering 2 sets when his original opener, Khalid, wasn't able to perform. According to Sheeran, Khalid is recovering from a car accident.
And that's what's going on with Nikki Strong.
You're listening to the RM Show at VOA Africa. This is your host, Roger Muntu. As I always tell you, as I told you at the beginning of the show, we will have again our guests, our regular guests, our interns, our colleagues, if I should say that, Eva and Evan, who are here tonight to tell us about what the research and what they, what I guess they just have to tell us what's going on in the world and the world of showbiz and, of course, politics. We start with, but before we start, Evan, I don't know if you guys knew that yesterday was Bob Marley anniversary. I don't know if you guys saw that even on the news. That's the day Bob Marley died. And Bob Marley's a legend, right? It's like the reggae, big papa of reggae.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, we did a special show on reggae yesterday, about Bob Marley and things like that. On May 11, that's when he died. Yeah. All right. So anyway, we start with, Evan, right? What do you have for us today? I mean, now, I know that a big topic last week when you were here with us, you told us about the fighting in Sudan. Do you have any more follow-up with that? Because it's ongoing, right? Still ongoing, correct?
Yeah, it's still going on. Last week I mentioned the need for humanitarian aid and how certain agencies were trying to assist. But they were worried about some resistance from the warring groups. But the good news is that the warring groups did sign a commitment not to interfere with the humanitarian aid, but they did not agree to a U.S. proposed ceasefire. That being said, the groups did sign a declaration of commitment to protect the civilians of Sudan and Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. So the declaration made it clear that the groups would put the interest of Sudan's people above all else. That's really was the issue going and talking about this was these were two warring groups, and they were just ravaging Sudan. And there were so many citizens, so many people just caught in the crossfires, and they couldn't get electricity, they couldn't get food, they couldn't get all these things they needed.
Wow.
But this is great news.
Right.
This is very good news
Right.
when we're talking about getting those people what they need to survive.
And I think it's always a good thing when you say it about not interfering with humanitarian aid, because times like this is like those people need to have access in some places to go help the people who are in trouble, pretty much. Yeah, and this is really help out, really pretty good.
So we've been talking a lot about Africa, Europe, America, but what's going on in Asia?
Well, Asia has a lot going on. A very big place, if you didn't know. But one thing I would keep an eye on would be the graft charges that the former Pakistani Prime Minister, Imran Khan, is facing. If you know, he was arrested for grounds of corruption.
Corruption, I think I saw that on the news, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
corruption, like really heavy stuff, and there's been a lot of political
Wow.
unrest about it.
Wow.
A lot of parties that are really just going at each other. But the Supreme Court did declare this arrest unlawful, and
Right.
they're making the process be backtracked. He has been granted 2 weeks of temporary bail, and will probably not be arrested anytime soon. That being said, he is continuing to, stuff is coming out that he's getting in all these more charges, all more legal issues, all this stuff is coming out. And the Interior Minister has pledged to arrest him, rearrest him. He says he's going to go back into jail. He's going to make sure that happens. So it's going to this conflict is not going to end anytime soon. So I think it will be very important that everyone keeps an eye on this.
It sounds like it. Yeah, it sounds like it. This is an ongoing story as well. Wow. A lot is going on overseas, but, and I know Eva was saying, you mentioned America. Yes, let's come back to America here. What's happening in the U.S.?
Well, here in the U.S., the Biden administration has proposed new limits on the greenhouse gas emissions of power plants. This plan would force power plants to capture smokestack emissions using new technology and seems to be one of the most ambitious attempts yet to curb planet-warming pollution in the U.S.
Wow.
Experts say that this will improve air quality and have health benefits for many Americans, especially ones living on the front lines near these power plants. But opponents of this proposal claim that it is an attack on coal in the United States, and that they plan to shut down the coal fleet. Now, obviously, the supporters of this will say that that's not their goal, and that they want to simply just help the environment and help and help public health.
Right.
But regardless of what they are trying to do, this does align with the Biden administration's plan to help the environment. They've said that all along. That was one of their goals.
Yeah.
Last week.
Yeah, they've been saying that even when he was running campaign and all.
Oh yeah,
It's
always been a big deal for them, and this continues that they will stick by that.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, and I'm sure the new technological developments will make a plan that's possible. Speaking of science and technology, is anything going on in that world right now?
Well, in the science world, a beautiful mosaic of baby star clusters has been created by astronomers in Cape Canaveral, Florida. The mosaic consists of 5 stellar nurseries. I think that's such a funny phrase. Stellar nurseries, like baby little stars.
Tiny little ones.
Yeah, but you go up to it and it's just like, whoa. You just don't know what's going on. Yeah, and it was made using over 1 million images captured at the European Southern Observatory in Chile. These observations will support the ones found by the European Space Agency's Gaia's spacecraft, and all this information will help scientists understand how stars evolve from dust.
Man, we learn every day, man.
That's crazy.
That is crazy and awesome. Wow. Thank you so much, Evan. Thank you so much. We'll get back to you again next week, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. On the lighter notes.
Well, I don't know the baby stars. That's pretty cute, man. Come on.
That's right. All right. So what's going on in the music world this week, Eva? And anything like interesting at all?
So the Billboard Top 10 is pretty much the same since last week. Not a lot of new stuff, surprisingly, this week. You'd think with summer coming up,
you
people
think exactly. People be dropping stuff, waiting.
But we still have Morgan Wallen's Last Night in the number 1 spot.
I
and
love Morgan
SZA's...
Wallen.
Really?
I'm sorry.
Are you a Morgan Wallen fan?
I love it. That guy, man, has a voice. I'm sorry.
And then SZA's in the number 2 spot with her song Kill Bill still, which that has been on the charts for a while, man.
Kill Bill, that's right.
Yeah.
It's been there, man.
However, there's like some songs on the top 100 chart that I'm not surprised I'm surprised that are not higher ranked. One song that I'm surprised isn't top 10 or like literally number 1 was Ice Spice, her Princess Diana song with Nicki Minaj.
Yeah,
literally been all over TikTok, man. Fans seem to adore the song with the new verses with Nicki, so I cannot believe that it's not higher up in the charts. But other than that, there's not really any new songs topping the charts this week.
Oh my God, that's right. It's sometimes just you're waiting for that, as you mentioned.
Kind of in a lull.
Yeah. And then you don't have anything. There's still some songs will keep stay on the Billboard for like weeks, right?
Yeah.
Like 6-7 weeks.
Yeah.
Like your girl. She does it all the time.
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift does it all the time.
Oh, she stays on the
killed
chart,
the chart. Yeah.
I am surprised that there's not a lot of new music on the charts this week, to say the least.
That's right.
But is there any songs or musicians you would want to see hit the charts in the next few weeks?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I already guess. I'm just kidding.
No, I've been listening to Lana Del Rey actually a ton lately, which isn't saying a lot because I love her and I listen to her very consistently. But she just released a new album not too long ago. Did you hear that there's a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard, which was like beautiful and a great addition to her discography. I've also been listening a lot to Joe.
Joe? Who's that? I'm sorry, I missed that. I missed Joe. Who's Joe?
He doesn't have a lot of new stuff out right now, but he has 2 albums, and they definitely need more recognition. He's wonderful, especially because he's super popular in the acting world. He actually plays Steve Harrington on Netflix's Stranger Things, which I'm a huge fan of that as well.
Right.
But his music is just as wonderful as his character in the show, so I wish he was more well-known, but his music's super fun.
Do you know him, Dave?
I know him as an actor. I don't know him as
you know him as a
Yeah.
musician.
I have no idea.
Okay. You know him just an actor. Okay.
Crazy.
Yeah, but I love him. He's cool, and he has a good
Wow.
summer vibe. I'm
Yeah?
definitely gonna be listening to him all
Now
summer.
you make me want to go listen to him now. Now, that's for sure. Is there anything happening outside of the music or entertainment world this week at all?
Yeah, so recently there's been a lot of talk, especially all over social media, about Scream 7, despite Scream 6 only coming out in early March. So fans have kind of already started making predictions and sharing what they'd like to see in the upcoming installment. Scream 7 has not yet been confirmed, but with fans going crazy over the 6th installment of the franchise, fans are predicting it won't be too long until the 7th movie is announced. But obviously, with new movies comes excitement, but fans are also worried. There's been some talk about Jenna Ortega, who plays Tara in both Scream 5 and 6, that she might not return for the 7th film. She's becoming such a well-known scream queen. She's been in a ton of horror movies, man. She's really booked and busy, and there's also talk of her starring in the sequel to Beetlejuice.
Wow.
So that's definitely left fans worried that she's going to be too busy for a third. She'll come back to the franchise.
Right.
But I'm personally not too worried because if anything, I think that at least she'll come back and get killed off. So she'll come back for a little while. Because without Jenna Ortega's character, there's not really a solid plot.
Right.
So the movie may take longer to release, waiting for Jenna.
Yeah.
But I think that they will wait to move forward without they can't go on without the star of the
No,
franchise.
there's no
man.
way. I mean, can't.
She's just so popular.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
thing.
she really is. She's
Right.
all over the place right now. And then outside of Scream, there's some drama going around Taylor Swift. Obviously, we love her.
Of course.
And her alleged new boyfriend, Matty Healy, from the band 1975, after pictures of them holding hands hit social media. Fans of Swift were anything but happy considering the news that she just publicly, at least, broke it off with her longtime boyfriend, Joe Alwyn, who was definitely a fan favorite. So Swift seems to be keeping it very private, but to be honest, I hope fans can give her privacy and let her be happy without like the input on her personal life. But other than that, we're pretty much all caught up for this week.
All caught up this week. Wow, thank you so much, Eva. I mean, with you, we always learn something new. I just learned that Joe is now a musician, so...
Yeah.
Which is crazy because the Joe I know, he's a janitor. So it's he's moving on up.
It's a moving on up.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Anyway, guys, we're going to continue with music. That was a segment of Eva and Evan here at RM Show tonight. Thank you so much. Let's keep on going with this. More music here at VOA Africa. VOA 1. Let's go. You're listening to... Thank you very much. That was my intern, and I have now George with me. George, that was our intern. That's the work that those interns do when they come to Voice of America. They learn how to research news. They learn how to concentrate on their interests, which is a plus that Voice of America does give to those young kids.
Yes, Roger, good evening. And I was very happy to hear, Ivan and Eva, doing a great job.
Yeah.
And doing interviews. That's all about. When you are intern at VOA, you come in and we put you, to work. So they are great, and I hope to see them soon.
Yeah, I hope to see them soon. That's what I keep telling them. I say, you guys need to come back soon and do more work. And it's just, I think our intern office at Voice of America does a really good job on, empowering those young kids and these young girls who also want to become journalists or work in the
reporter,
media.
camera woman, camera, audio tech.
Exactly.
Opening, path. You come back to VOA, we give you the platform, and you express yourself.
Right.
If you're willing to learn, you can learn. If you don't, I mean, you want to improve something that you already have.
Exactly.
There's a place to improve.
Yeah, it's a place to improve.
Yeah.
How many refugees are around the world? Because that's our subject, George. This week in RM Show, that was the subject of the week, or the question of the week. How many refugees are around the world? Because that number keep on getting larger and larger all over the, every year. And the question was, why? What are the causes? What makes the number of refugee keeps on growing? At least 89.3, according to the UN. 89.3 people around the world have been forced to flee their home. Among them are also nearly about 27.1 million refugees, around 41% of who are under the age of 18. That's according to UN. That's a large number. But the question really was, what makes those people move from their places? What are the reasons?
Well, Roger, it is easy to know. War, rebellions, bad governance. You remember earlier this week, one listener, I think from DRC, just sent you a message saying that the major cause for him is the war. When there's a war, he's a bad governance. And I agree with him, in most places, mostly in Africa, the way the governing, makes people, free the place, create war and hostilities, because people, when they start, riot, they start fighting, there's no more opportunities for young folks. So they started, leaving the country, and that's very bad, because when they leave, when you start, you go to college, you finish college, you are, called to give back to your community, to give back to your country. But if there's no safety, you got to move. So war, and there are also natural causes like catastrophe. Right now, look at next door, Canada. There were big fire.
Yeah, the big fire that we saw. Right.
If you are living in that place and your house is destroyed, you and your family, you have to move. So you can move for safety reason. You can go in the neighboring country like here, or you can go somewhere in another town. If your town is on a fire. So there are many reasons,
causes, right?
but most of the time in Africa, a continent that we know very well, you and I, it's bad governance because leaders, when they are on power, they grab power, they don't want to leave. We have some places like Cameroon, the leader, the current leader, he was on power when I was a little kid, in primary school. Today, I finished college. I'm working.
Finished college, you're working. You have kids.
He's still there.
Your kids are going to college.
Yeah, and then he's still the president. And you remember Cameroon used to be a safe country,
right?
And you remember a few years ago they started fighting because the West, the Anglophone part, want to be free.
Right.
They say, okay, because we are tired of this old system. We need to free ourselves. We only create two countries, which is not the solution. But, if there's a lack of communication, leadership, people are desperate. They try to do violence. But let me tell you right away, violence is not the answer.
It's not the answer.
They should come on the table and discuss and have a, transitional move. Look at here, the people, we have a lot of president, a former president too. But those are some reasons.
Some reasons. And you mentioned war because, most people also who responded to our social media say ongoing conflict and war, both international and internal also have been a major drive, as you mentioned, George, of forced displacement.
Yeah, look at Sudan.
Yeah,
look
like Sudan, for
today.
instance,
Sudan,
exactly.
They're fighting,
right?
And people are, forced to leave.
Yeah,
they are in neighboring countries, which is not safe. Chad, for instance, Chad is the junta, ruling power right now in Chad. But people, when they are desperate, they're bombing, they have to leave, they leave. They go into Chad. Yeah. Chad is not a safe place either because as a junta leader on the power right there.
Exactly.
Look at look at Ukraine. Ukraine and Russia
right now. So many people left Ukraine to go find places. And this conflict can arise, as you mentioned, from political, ethnic, or religious, or even territorial dispute. As we can see that leading to people fleeing their home to seek safety in the country. But you also mentioned something really right. And I like when you mentioned that is the environmental factor, the climate change, the fire that you mentioned, disasters such as, also like hurricanes sometimes will also make people move and find these factors, environmental factors can make certain regions very hard to live.
Yeah, that's why we have to protect our climate. Climate change is real. People they have to protect. When you are a farmer, when you farming, the next year you farm this year, next year you have to also plant trees because the climate change is real. Oceans are now very disturbing factor. Sometimes it's rising, and because of climate change.
Climate change, exactly.
Yeah.
You know what really hit me? I was reading some of the books and some news that I was listening to. Right. Sometimes those causes, right, in some places can interconnect somehow or overlap. You see what I'm saying? You have the environmental problem, you have the political problem.
Yes.
At the same time, you have the persecution. Some places you have those 2, 3, 4 things
at the same time.
And this can drive also people to leave their home and seek refuge to other countries.
Look at recently what happened in Rwanda and Congo.
Yeah.
Congo is already, having trouble in the eastern part.
Yes, the eastern part of Goma,
because of the rebels, the M23,
Ituri and all those
and then
places.
they were landsliding. They were,
They were landsliding. There were the volcano.
The
you remember?
Volcanoes, Nyiragongo.
Yeah, exactly.
So
you're right. That's a good example. There too.
Those are factors that can put you on a hard spot. You say, okay, I have to leave.
Exactly.
Because even today, I think people are still looking for
right. They're trying to find a way to move
leave,
and send things
around.
to leave and move around.
Yeah.
George, thank you so much, man. We have to get your input on that one. It's always good. Zinab, we have music on the rundown there. I'm gonna play the music right now, and we'll be right back. All My Life. I just love this song. All My Life is a song by Little Durk, whose real name is Derek Banks. He's a rapper, singer, songwriter. He was born in 1992. For those who asked me that question on my social media, I had this girl writing to me, and Tema, telling me that, asking me when he was born in 92 in Chicago, Illinois. Little Dirk gained a lot of respect on the hip hop scene, music scene, with his unique style and storytelling kind of style that he does in his music, often reflecting the struggles and experiences those young people sometimes experience in urban life. Dirk grew up in Inglewood, California. For those who know or don't know Inglewood, California, I just love Inglewood. Inglewood is just the perfect place for rap. Those rap, those who follow rap know that it's definitely a great place for hip hop and rap music. In 2013, Little Dark signed a record deal with Def Jam Recording. He released his debut studio album was "Remember My Name." That's when he actually started making his name. Actually, when he started doing that, and that was in 2015, which featured collaborations of other artists like Logic, who I love very much, Logic, Jeremith, and King Papa, and also the album. We should say it here. The album received a positive review. Was also even named on the Billboard 200 charts, which is really, really amazing. Throughout his career, Lil Durk has collaborated also with so many other artists and released several successful projects. He has worked with artists such as Little Baby, Drake, and many others, and continue to make some great music. You're listening to the RM Show at VOA Africa. This is your host, Roger Muntu. Don't forget to check me out on my Twitter, Roger Muntu RM Show, or you can also visit my Facebook page, Roger Muntu, the RM Show official. You'll see me there, and send me a little message. Say, Roger, I'll listen to your show every evening in Accra, in Zambia, in Nigeria, in Sudan. What do I know? Anyway, I was telling you about my intern who are doing a great work. We'll get back to them again, see how much information they got for us today. Eva and Evan, who have been here for a few months working with us and learning more. Let's go back to the studio with them.
Thanks, Muntu.
All right, so last week you talked about Ukraine. Do you have any updates on that?
I actually do. Tensions in Ukraine are still high as Secretary of State Anthony Blinken claims that a ceasefire is not possible, which is not good. During a speech of Blinken's in Helsinki, Finland, he outlined how a ceasefire would actually allow Russia to further control of the areas it's already controls. And in the capital of Ukraine, Kiev, over 30 Russian drones and missiles were brought down as a military onslaught continues. So violence continues, and obviously it's very scary, but we just gotta hope for the best, right?
Yeah.
And President Zelensky has been commenting on how he thinks Ukrainian authorities should be focusing on protecting its citizens. That's really their goal, is to make sure they have methods in place to protect its citizens from the violence that's occurring and probably will continue for who knows how long.
Yeah.
In some somber news, Russia continues to create more civilian casualties as a 9-year-old Ukrainian girl was killed on National Children's Day. Zelensky stated that even on this day, the terrorist state took the life of a Ukrainian child.
That is awful. Wow.
Just terrible.
Yeah, that's dark. So do you have any other news on the international scene?
Yeah, I do. Some news in the global economic scene is the furthering of the debate about U.S. investing restrictions in certain sectors of the Chinese economy. So to put this into perspective, an executive order was put into place that restricted investment in the Chinese economy. The goal of this was to prevent American investors investing in sectors that would support the Chinese military. So the sectors that we're talking about would be advanced semiconductors, quantum computing, and the very controversial artificial intelligence.
Yes.
So this, along with the new semiconductor rules and the CHIPS Act, which promotes domestic creation of semiconductors, it will hopefully, the U.S. hopes that it will curb the expansion of the Chinese military. So bigger military usually means bigger conflicts.
Yeah.
So the screening of these investment opportunities are going to be very long and complicated processes. There's going to be a lot of research involved, and it's going to be a very grueling process, to say the least.
Yeah. Is there any U.S. news regarding the economy?
Yeah, there is. So you may have heard that the Senate recently voted 63 to 36 to support the measure that would allow the U.S. to continue to pay its bills. This is raising the debt ceiling, is what a lot of places are calling it. And it was urgent because the U.S. was predicted to run out of cash in about 4 days after they before they signed the bill. So this piece of legislation saw support from both sides of the aisle. It saw support from Republicans. It saw support from Democrats. But the more extreme Republicans and Democrats, the more extreme Republicans didn't like it because it didn't restrict spending enough, and the more extreme Democrats didn't like it because it restricted spending too much. But anywho, it allows the U.S. to exceed the debt ceiling and exceed the debt, which is $31.4 trillion.
Jeez.
So it's a tough topic when talking about debt, national debt, that is, because the word debt has so much negative stigma. Because in your personal life, if you're in a lot of debt, that is almost always, no matter what, a bad thing.
Yeah.
But in a national sense, it isn't necessarily inherently bad, because national debt shows that you have an investment in the expansion of your country and its institutions, and a willingness to help your citizens. So it's very important, right? During COVID-19, if we were so afraid about expanding the national debt, then who knows how many more people would have died. Thanks, Moon2.
All right. So last week you talked about Ukraine. Do you have any updates on that?
I actually do. Tensions in Ukraine are still high, as Secretary of State Anthony Blinken claimed that a ceasefire is not possible, which is not good. During a speech of Blinken's in Helsinki, Finland, he outlined how a ceasefire would actually allow Russia to further control of the areas it's already controls. And in the capital of Ukraine, Kiev, over 30 Russian drones and missiles were brought down as a military onslaught continues. So violence continues, and obviously it's very scary, but we just gotta hope for the best, right?
Yeah.
And President Zelensky has been commenting on how he thinks Ukrainian authorities should be focusing on protecting its citizens. That's really their goal, is to make sure that they have methods in place to protect its citizens from the violence that's occurring and probably will continue for who knows how long.
Yeah.
In some somber news, Russia continues to create more civilian casualties, as a 9-year-old Ukrainian girl was killed on National Children's Day. Zelensky stated that even on this day, the terrorist state took the life of a Ukrainian child.
That is awful. Wow.
Just terrible.
Yeah, that's dark. So do you have any other news on the international scene?
Yeah, I do. Some news in the global economic scene is the furthering of the debate about U.S. investing restrictions in certain sectors of the Chinese economy. So to put this into perspective, an executive order was put into place that restricted investment in the Chinese economy. The goal of this was to prevent American investors investing in sectors that would support the Chinese military. So the sectors that we're talking about would be advanced semiconductors, quantum computing, and the very controversial artificial intelligence.
Yes.
So this, along with the new semiconductor rules and the CHIPS Act, which promotes domestic creation of semiconductors, it will hopefully, the U.S. hopes that it will curb the expansion of the Chinese military. So bigger military usually means bigger conflicts.
Yeah.
So the screening of these investment opportunities are going to be very long and complicated processes. There's going to be a lot of research involved, and it's going to be a very grueling process, to say the least.
Yeah. Is there any U.S. news regarding the economy?
Yeah, there is. So you may have heard that the Senate recently voted 63 to 36 to support the measure that would allow the U.S. to continue to pay its bills. This is raising the debt ceiling, is what a lot of places are calling it. And it was urgent because the U.S. was predicted to run out of cash in about 4 days after they before they signed the bill. So this piece of legislation saw support from both sides of the aisle. It saw support from Republicans. It saw support from Democrats. But the more extreme Republicans and Democrats, the more extreme Republicans didn't like it because it didn't restrict spending enough, and the more extreme Democrats didn't like it because it restricted spending too much. But anywho, it allows the U.S. to exceed the debt ceiling and exceed the debt, which is $31.4 trillion.
Jeez.
So it's a tough topic when talking about debt. National debt, that is, because the word debt has so much negative stigma. Because in your personal life, if you're in a lot of debt, that is almost always, no matter what, a bad thing.
Yeah.
But in a national sense, it isn't necessarily inherently bad, because national debt shows that you have an investment in the expansion of your country and its institutions, and a willingness to help your citizens. So it's very important, right? During COVID-19, if we were so afraid about expanding the national debt, then who knows how many more people would have died.
All right, so not too much going on in the music world this week. The Billboard Top 10 hasn't changed very much since last week. Morgan Wallen's Last Night is still on the #1 spot, so it's the 8th week for it being in the #1 spot. And although the chart hasn't changed too much, there's definitely been some new releases, one of which coming from one of my favorite artists, Lana Del Rey. She released a new song with her dad, Rob Grant, yesterday, titled Lost at Sea. The song is the first single from her father's debut album, which is set to be released June 9th, so very soon. And fans are really excited to see what Lana creates with her father. And as a huge fan of Lana, I'm ecstatic to see what this collaboration has to offer. But other than that, there's not a ton of music added at the top 10, so we're kind of all caught up there.
Oh, well, since there wasn't too much going on this week as far as music goes, is there anything exciting about movies or entertainment coming up?
Yes, absolutely. I've been dying to talk about the Barbie movie that's coming up, starring Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. It seems like absolutely everyone is talking about this movie, waiting in anticipation for its release. The trailer has people excited and extremely hopeful that this will be a truly iconic addition to the Barbie franchise. I think the trailer makes the movie look truly spectacular, with an incredible set design, exquisite and stunning costumes, and top-notch talent, which is truly unmatched. And without even seeing the movie, I feel like I can say with 100% confidence that Margot Robbie is like the perfect Barbie. I mean, that woman is stunning. So I truly cannot wait to see her in this movie. But equally as exciting and just as anticipated is the movie's soundtrack. The tracklist was announced just a week or so ago, having a long list of top-tier musicians creating original songs for the movies, with celebrities like the very popular Ice Spice, Charlie XCX, Nicki Minaj, Dominic Fike, and a ton more. Even Ryan Gosling's name was listed as part of the album lineup, which I was like surprised because I didn't know he could sing. And there's still more to be announced according to the teaser. So the full album comes out along with the film July 21st. But while we wait for the movie and soundtrack, we did get a little sneak peek of the album with one of the songs for the movie already being released by Dua Lipa. The track is called Dance the Night. This song has been very well received, so I think it's safe to say the soundtrack is going to be nothing short of iconic and fun. So I'm very excited about the Barbie movie. Have you seen anything about it?
Yeah, I've seen a lot about it. I think it's coming out the same day as the new Christopher Nolan movie, Oppenheimer.
So you're gonna have to pick between which one you're gonna go see.
So I've seen a ton of people like say, I'm gonna go watch a Barbie movie, I'm gonna go watch Oppenheimer. Like, completely different movies. Like, one about nuclear bombs, one about
just a little different. But yeah, no, I'm very excited about this movie. I've seen everything I've seen. It looks wonderful, and the director's Greta Gerwig, I believe, and she's really talented. So
yeah, she's great.
Very excited to see what she does. But with that, I think we are all caught up. So.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Thank you, Muntu.
Back to you.
Back to us. Thank you very much to our friend who listened to us. If you listen to us as well, thank you so much for staying tuned. This was Ava and Evan. They spend really, really good time here. We want to thank them, for the time they have given us to, intern at VOA Africa. And right now, let's get ready to listen to Lady DJ, who is with us, and of course, who's going to give us some more information, entertainment news.
VOA! You're tuned in to the Voice of America. I'm Shauna Renee, the Lady DJ. You can find me on Twitter at VOA Lady DJ, and this is Word on the Tweets. The tweets are talking about Pink, who was visibly shaken after a fan threw a plastic bag of her mom's ashes at the Star during one of her shows in London. Pink grabbed the bag, asked the fan, "Is this your mother?" To which she replied, "Yes." Pink said, "I don't know how I feel about this," and carefully laid the ashes back on the stage, only to continue with the show without saying another word about the incident. The tweets are also talking about Zayn. He announced he's got new music coming this summer. He recently signed a deal with Mercury Records and has wiped his Instagram clean in preparation for a new era. Speaking of new music, Olivia Rodrigo also has a new album that you'll be able to stream and download September the 8th. It's called Guts. And finally, a big congratulations going out to Lil Wayne. He will receive the BMI Icon Award at the BMI Hip Hop and R&B Awards. It all goes down September 6th in Miami. You can find out more about these stories and others by going to my Twitter feed or my Facebook feed at VOA Lady DJ1. That's all for today. Until next time, peace.
That's all for Lady DJ. Thank you so much, Lady DJ. Stay tuned, and you can always find Lady DJ on her social media. You can find her on Twitter. You can find her all those places. Thank you so much, Lady DJ. We always get more entertainment news from you and, of course, from Nikki Strong. We will start landing with some great music, but first, I want to go and thank everybody listening to us at University of Accra, those students who love to listen to us and send us messages, and there's so many of them, they always wait on Wednesday and Friday to listen to us, and they write to me every time I'm live, and I want to thank you so much. Maybe by next year, if everything goes well, I'm probably going to come to Accra to have time with you guys in Tema as well. Let's listen to this great song, also a part of the Billboard 100 Top 10 American Music. Thank you very much. What a great song. What a great way to end this evening. I want to thank Ava and Evan again, my interns, for being with us all this time. And thank you, Zinab. Thank you, George. Thank you, Ellen, for this great show. Please don't go. Gotta go. And it's nighttime. I know where you are. So have a good night. See you next time and talk to you again on Friday like we always do. Have a good night. God bless. Peace, Africa.
Please don't go.